The carrier was regulation soft, gray mesh with a reinforced base, and Brisket filled it the way water fills a bucket, completely, with no wasted space. He was 11 pounds of Maine Coon in a 10-pound bag, and he hadn't moved in 40 minutes. The Vethori guard had been watching him for 39 of them. I noticed because I was watching the guard. That's the job when you're a civilian attaché waiting on a clearance re-review. You watch. Sit in the brushed copper antechamber of consulate Vethori. You hold your manila folder of forms, and you watch the room the way Brisket watches a ceiling fan. Without urgency, without illusion, the Vethori use low amber lighting in their waiting areas. It's meant to put human guests at ease. It does the opposite. There were 6 of us in the hall. 3 diplomatic support staff, 1 cultural liaison from the Meridian Group, 1 freight certification clerk who had nodded off against the wall, and me. Brisket's carrier sat on the bench beside me, vent panel facing out, and Brisket's left ear was the only thing moving in the entire room. It swiveled once toward the ventilation shaft in the ceiling, then went still. The guard, tall, plated along the shoulder in the Vethori fashion, pale gray skin with the faint subdermal ridge that marked the security caste, stepped closer on his second pass. His partner stayed near the door. Standard rotation. I'd watched them make it 4 times. He stopped in front of the carrier. "This is a biological unit," he said in the flat interlanguage that the consulate used for civilian traffic. "A question, a classification, a cat," I said. "He's listed on my entry manifest. Form 7C, Item 4. The guard looked at Brisket. Brisket was breathing. You could see it in the slow rise of his flank, the barely perceptible rhythm of a large animal asleep in a warm place and unconcerned about anything happening beyond it. "Earth-off fauna," the guard said. He said it the way you'd say decorative, the way you'd say irrelevant. "That's right." His partner had drifted closer now. They exchanged something in the tonal Vethori secondary register, too fast and too high for the consulate's ambient translation to catch, and one of them produced what I recognized as a subharmonic emitter. They use it on nervous animals. Something about the frequency disrupts prey response, keeps creatures from bolting during processing. They clicked it on and aimed it at the carrier. Skit's ear moved. That was all. Guard looked at his partner. His partner looked at the emitter. The freight clerk had woken up and was watching from across the hall with the sight of a man who has decided correctly to be very still. "Your animal does not respond to the standard calming protocol," the guard said. "He's calm already," I said. "He doesn't need it." Another in the secondary register. Longer this time. I caught one word the translation picked up: assessment. The senior guard crouched in front of the carrier. He was not a small being. Plating, on his shoulders, put him at something like 160 kilos, faceless, and the posture he was using was the one they use when they want you to understand the size differential without technically threatening you. It works on most species. I've seen it work. I've watched Vethori security clear a hallway of 40 American traders with that posture alone. Brisket opened one eye. Copper. That's the color. Not amber like the consulate lighting. Copper, like old wire. Like something that has been around long enough to develop a patina. He opened it, looked at the guard from a distance of about 8 inches, and then, and I want to be precise here, because the timing matters, he closed it again. The guard stayed crouched. He looked at his partner. His partner had taken a half-step back that I do not think was deliberate. "What is its threat classification?" the partner asked. Not the interlanguage, the secondary register. "But the translation caught it this time," I said. "He's a cat." The senior guard reached for the carrier's vent panel. What happened in the next 4 seconds is not something I'll in detail, partly because the consulate's review board asked me not to, partly because it was over before I'd set down my folder. What I will say is this. The guard made one sound, and it was not a word. Sket made no sound at all. And when the guard withdrew his hand, he held it against his plating, and did not look at anyone in the room. His partner was already at the door. Brisket put his chin back on his paws. I picked up my folder. Cultural liaison from the Meridian Group was looking at me with an expression I recognized. The particular stillness that comes over a person when they have just revised a significant assumption about the world and have not yet finished filing it away. "Is he?" she started. "He's fine," I said. "He does this. The clearance review went quickly after that. The subboard officer who processed my Form 7C did not ask about Item 4. He stamped it, initialed the biological annex without reading it, and slid the packet back across the desk, with the care of a man who has decided some questions are better left as questions. I thanked him. I picked up Brisket's carrier. Brisket had moved to his other side during the review, which is the only editorial comment he ever makes. The walk back to the civilian transit dock was 12 minutes. Brisket slept through all of it. At the gate, the dock officer, Vethori, younger, security cast ridge just starting to come in, looked at the carrier, looked at my clearance stamp, looked at the carrier again. He stepped aside without being asked. We boarded the shuttle. I took the rear-facing seat by the window, settled the carrier on the bench beside me, and opened the vent panel 2 inches the way Brisket prefers on transits. He didn't acknowledge this. He was already asleep. Across the aisle, the freight clerk from the antechamber was watching us. He was a big man, Belthani human mixed, probably 30 years of port transit behind him. He'd seen things. He looked at Brisket. He looked at me. "How long have you had him?" he asked. 7 years, I said. He nodded slowly, the way people nod when they're not really responding to what you said but to something slightly larger. Then he turned back to the window. The shuttle undocked. Vethori shrank behind us, its amber running lights fading into the general dark of the transit lane. I checked my forms, everything stamped, everything filed. Item 4, biological companion cleared without exception. Brisket's tail moved once. A slow sideways arc that meant nothing in particular, possibly everything, depending on your threshold for reading a cat. I've had 7 years to develop one. The Vethori consulate issued a revised companion animal processing protocol 6 weeks later. I heard about it from the Meridian Group liaison. Apparently, the subharmonic emitter requirement had been reclassified as optional for Earth fauna pending further assessment. I didn't ask what assessment, I already knew.